beginning, but it gets more, if you like, more motivational. 20 years ago today, if any of you know the Beatles, it sounds like some of their songs. It wasn't quite today, but the last recession somebody mentioned. I'd spent the previous week running a conference, and we've all done the same sort of thing. So again, this is for all of you that are sitting there thinking redundancy, perhaps hopefully not round the corner. This is the cautionary part of the tale. Having done 100 hours and spent the whole weekend putting together all the action plans that everybody wanted from this wonderful conference I'd helped to run. People would turn up for my son's christening, and I was upstairs sitting on the bed writing all this stuff. Back 20 years ago, there were very little around in the way of laptops and computers and whatever, so it's been handwritten. And Monday morning at 6 o'clock I drove to Peterborough, armed with a bucket load of stuff that I'd done for my boss and a year's portion of all the achievements I'd done, ready for my appraisal, with a spring in my step, a smile on my face, and all the thoughts about where this could take me in the future. And within 2 minutes of my annual appraisal, my boss was saying, we'd like to carry on doing the job you're doing, we're very happy with everything, oh, this is going well so far. However, we'd also like you to take on this role. It was literally 2 for the price of 1. So things don't change. And this is literally 1992, 20 years ago. And I said, well, that's just impossible. I can't possibly do that and that. There's no way it would work. And she said, well, there's one alternative. And I was so naive, I said, well, you can't sack me. And she said, no, but we can offer you redundancy. And this is, when you say, have you ever heard the expression out of the blue? This was really out of the blue. And I said, oh, crikey, I've been here 30 years. I started work when I was 4, by the way. So I said, I wonder how much this is you're going to offer me on this redundancy package. And this is, if you like, going back to Gail and Steve's bit, this was my light bulb moment, when all of a sudden, across the table, this bit of paper appeared in front of me with all the figures and facts and everything on it. So the cautionary tale is, it could happen to anybody at any time. Now, the second part of the story is, I thought, to hell with this then, you know, the writing's on the wall. I drove home that evening, and I said to my wife, you never guess what's happened at work? And she didn't say, oh, you've been promoted, or anything. She's more of a realist than I am. And I said, they've offered me redundancy. She went, great, you've always wanted to do your own thing. Now, we're not here to sell self-employment or working for yourself, but it's this idea of there is a world outside of whatever you're doing now. I've been reasonably happy in my job, but as Steve said, he might have ended up in the funny farm, but I think I'd have ended up one day throwing myself under the 6:48 train at Ruislip Station, because the commuting was really getting to me, working 100 hours a week, working at weekends and all this, that and the other. So literally my wife and I was a trainer at the time, we got the flip chart out and the bottle of wine, and I did this is, and you've all done this, but do the pros and cons, whatever you want to call it. And the pros for staying in Thomas Cook were job security. Well, that got crossed out straight away. My friends, well, 20 years on I still see my friends, keep in touch with them. Pension, that was protected. And that was about it. Oh, I did sort of like my job. Yeah, that was okay. But all the cons, you know, so why should I leave? There was no more commuting, no more unpaid overtime. I won't go through all of it now. If anybody wants to chat to me about it later, about all the benefits of being self-employed, it's choice, 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 choice and choice. I relate to everything Alison said. Mondays and Fridays off, you know, or alternatively, so I never work on a Wednesday evening. Oh yeah, I do sometimes, but I choose to be here this evening. So what did I decide to do? I wanted to get completely out of the rat race, and this is the food for thought for you all. I became a gardener. And for the first 2 or 3 years after I left Thomas Cook, where I had a business development and training job, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. My income didn't drop. I love going to work every day. And I'm going to make this a short presentation, so I'm going to fast forward 20 years. I'm still a gardener, although it's not 4 or 5 days a week now, it's much, much less. But I'm also a trainer. But one of the funny things is, and what I'll try and impart to you guys tonight, is that one of the things that happens to you when you take self-employment, it puts you out of the comfort zone, but it actually gives you a lot more confidence. And I started saying, well, perhaps I can do that. You know, when you work for an organisation and you are institutionalised to an extent, because you are part of Thomas Cook or Glaxo or whomever, and you work within their parameters, when you go out and do your own thing, you just go for it. So I'm still gardening, I'm still training, I do outplacement work. I never thought I'd ever do outplacement work. I've done a bit of coaching and lots of other things. And my advice to all of you is, my mum was given to me, if you like, and I had the opportunity to leave because it was put on the plate. I'm not saying you should leave the jobs you're in at the moment, but be prepared for it. Have a little box at the back of your mind that says, what could I do in the future? And Steve's already mentioned it, and you've all heard of the transferable skills. It's amazing how many people leave jobs and think, well, I've always done this, so how on earth could I work for that sort of a company or that sort of a company? You work for any company if you've got the right sort of skills and confidence and the ability to take a huge leap into the unknown. Before I finish, I still love my gardening, I still love my training, I don't mind getting up and doing presentations. I have another string to my bow, but I'll tell you about that in a few minutes' time. So, the thing is, when you go into this world of new employment, don't have any barriers, just go for it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, and the word there is mindset.